Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into something pretty revolutionary, how we build basically everything around us. And it's moving at speeds that, well, they really change what seems possible. We're talking about this incredible combination of AI and 3D printing and how they're starting to reshape our world. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack this game-changing idea. How AI and 3D printing are changing human infrastructure, homes, roads, everything, making it faster, cheaper, and hopefully better for everyone. It's not just about putting up walls faster, it's about rethinking the whole environment we build.
Exactly. And we're going to try and go beyond just the tech specs today. You could expect us to get into the big societal impacts, the new challenges popping up, and even how this tech sort of pushes us to think about what being human means when AI is everywhere. Our sources really show this isn't just one thing. It's a deep mix of science, society, ethics. It's hitting the future from all sides.
And for you, our listener, think of this as maybe a shortcut, a way to get your head around this key intersection of technologies that's really going to shape the cities you live in, the places you call home, the roads you use every day. We've got some surprising facts, some really concrete examples that should make all this high-tech stuff feel, well, a bit more real. Okay, so let's dig in the sheer speed that AI and 3D printing bring to building things. It's pretty stunning when you look at the numbers.
It absolutely is. So basically, 3D printing in construction takes a digital plan, right, a blueprint, and sends it to a big robotic system. Think of a huge nozzle laying down material, often concrete, layer by layer, building up a structure. Or sometimes it uses dry materials fused with heat. And it's really flexible. You can print a whole house right there on the plot, or make parts in a factory, or print bridge sections and put them together later. Now, the AI, that's the smart part. It's the intelligence driving it. Take architecture, for example. AI tools can look at a basic sketch and whip up, dozens of detailed floor plans, 3D models way faster than usual. We're talking maybe cutting the design cycle in half. And often these designs already have built-in thinking about sustainability or how easy they'll be to actually construct.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just faster building, but smarter design right from the start.
Precisely. And AI's role doesn't end there. It's also doing amazing things with materials. Machine learning can figure out the perfect internal structure, the microstructure, for materials to get, say, super effective insulation, or walls that are thinner but just as strong. And beyond that, AI uses predictive analytics. It can forecast how long a bridge or road might last, helping cities prioritize repairs before something fails. It can even model traffic around building sites to make things safer, or handle paperwork automatically using natural language processing, that's AI understanding text.
Okay, and the robot's actually doing the printing.
Yeah, robotics handle the physical printing with amazing precision. And they often learn as they go, using reinforcement learning, kind of like getting better with practice. And this leads to something really powerful. The digital twin.
Digital twin. Right.
It's basically a live virtual copy of a building or even a whole neighborhood. It gets real-time data, so you can monitor, constantly spot tiny issues before they become big problems. And, really importantly, you can test designs. Stress test them virtually before you build anything physical.
Like a living simulation.
Exactly. But, and this is crucial, if that digital model has flaws or biases, those can directly impact the real-world thing that gets built. Digital vulnerabilities become physical ones.
That digital twin idea, the live virtual model, it does sound a bit sci-fi, but you mentioned real benefits happening now. Speed, cost. Are those making a tangible difference already?
Oh, absolutely. The speed is incredible. Sources show you can get the main structure, the shell of a 3D printed house done in maybe 24 to 72 hours.
Hours, really?
Yeah, hours for the shell. The whole house finished in maybe 1 to 3 months. Now compare that to traditional methods. 6 months, maybe a year. It's a huge difference. And think about what that means for urgent situations like disaster relief, getting housing up fast for people who've lost everything, or for humanitarian projects worldwide. It allows for rapid, scalable solutions.
So it's not just building quicker, it's responding to human needs much faster. That must mean cost savings too, right?
It certainly does. Estimates suggest 3D printed homes could be, say, 10% to 15% cheaper. Some studies even push that higher, maybe up to 35% reduction in costs. And the AI helps here too, optimizing how resources are managed, predicting exactly how much labor, material, equipment you need. It cuts down waste significantly. We're already seeing early adopters in construction saving, over 3 hours a week per person, adding up to productivity gains over $100,000 a year for a business. It's substantial.
And the materials themselves, you mentioned innovation there.
Yeah, huge strides. AI helps find the best recipes for new materials. Like geopolymer concrete, it's much greener than standard cement, cuts the carbon footprint way down. Or adding things called phase change materials to walls for better insulation so you can have thinner walls but still be energy efficient. Plus, 3D printing itself is less wasteful because it only uses the material needed for the structure. And it makes using sustainable or recycled stuff easier. I think bioplastics, recycled concrete, aggregate. It pushes us towards producing things only when needed, mass customization even.
Okay, so faster, cheaper, smarter materials. What does this mean when we zoom out? For our cities, our communities, how does this tech go beyond just one house at a time?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. AI's reach goes way beyond single buildings. It's becoming a major force in urban planning, in shaping what we call smart cities. AI is a tool to boost efficiency, use resources better, make decisions based on actual data, all leading towards cities that are more sustainable, more resilient, and just, well, better places to live.
Can you give us some examples? How does that work in practice?
Sure. We're seeing real-time management of city systems. Like in Seattle, Project Greenlight uses AI to analyze traffic and tweak traffic light timings automatically. It cuts down congestion quite a bit. AI can also optimize energy use in city buildings or utilities by looking at sensor data and weather forecasts, or manage water systems more proactively, saving a precious resource.
And resilience, coping with things like climate change.
Yes, exactly. Generative AI and those digital twins we talked about. Planners use them to model the potential impact of floods or extreme heat waves. Cities like Las Vegas are using digital twins to see the environmental effects of big construction projects beforehand. Galveston's using one to figure out flood resilience strategies. This kind of predictive power lets you build resilience in from the very beginning.
What about the people living in these cities? Is AI helping make cities more, human-friendly?
That's definitely a focus. Sources show AI being used for more human-centric design. There's a tool called Urbanist AI, for instance. It uses generative AI to let residents actually visualize changes to their streets or neighborhoods in real time. It turns them into placemakers. AI can also help make things fair, like analyzing transport options to ensure new routes or expansions prioritize areas that have been underserved, making equity something you can actually measure and plan for.
Okay, but let's talk environment again. It sounds great for sustainability in buildings, but you mentioned a twist, the green paradox.
Right, so on the one hand, AI and 3D printing offer huge potential wins for the environment. We talked about greener materials like geopolymer concrete, phase-change materials for insulation, less waste from printing using recycled stuff. Plus, AI optimizes energy grids, helps integrate renewables, improves waste sorting with computer vision, monitors climate change using vast amounts of satellite data, over 700 satellites feeding data. Even building AI infrastructure using sustainable power can boost energy security.
There's always a but, isn't there?
There is, and it's a big one. The paradox is that the very infrastructure needed to run all this powerful AI, well, it has its own massive environmental footprint, and it's growing fast. The sources point out that building and running AI is incredibly costly, financially and environmentally. Training these huge generative AI models takes unbelievable amounts of electricity.
How much are we talking?
Staggering amounts. It leads to significant CO2 emissions and puts a strain on power grids. Projections suggest data centers, largely thanks to AI, could be the world's fifth biggest electricity consumer by 2026. Fifth.
Wow. So AI helps us save energy in buildings, but sucks up huge amounts itself in data centers. That is a paradox.
It is. And it's not just electricity. Cooling all that hardware uses a lot of water. Sources estimate something like 2 liters of water for every kilowatt hour of energy the AI systems consume. That can put real pressure on local water supplies, especially in dry areas.
Oh, water too, okay.
Yeah, and then you have the indirect impacts manufacturing the chips, transporting them. Plus, AI models get updated so quickly, the energy spent training the previous version is essentially wasted.
This really throws a wrench in the works, doesn't it? How do we possibly square that circle? Use AI for green solutions while managing its own environmental cost?
That is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? It really highlights the urgent need for what the sources call sustainable AI. That means things like designing more energy-efficient algorithms, powering data centers with renewable energy. And it means being really critical about where and why we deploy AI, always weighing the benefits against these significant environmental costs. It's about making AI itself sustainable, not just using it to optimize other things.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Our sources seem to push beyond AI as just a tool for doing things faster or more efficiently. They talk about AI needing to explain the world, not just act on it. Why is that distinction important?
It's a really fundamental point. The deepest potential of AI, especially when we're talking about shaping our physical world, isn't just about automation. It's about enhancing human understanding, augmenting our ability to make decisions. Think of AI less like a replacement worker and more like an incredibly knowledgeable co-pilot. It helps us see more, understand more, explore options we might not have considered, and ultimately make better, more informed choices.
So it's about partnership, human AI collaboration, rather than just handing tasks over.
Exactly right. And that's where something called explainable AI or XAI becomes so vital. A lot of AI can be a black box. It gives you an answer, but you don't know how it got there. XAI is about opening that box, making the AI's reasoning understandable to humans.
Why does that matter so much?
Well, first, trust. It's hard to trust a decision if you don't know the logic behind it. Second, insights. Understanding why an AI suggests a certain design or material can teach engineers something new, especially in areas like infrastructure where safety and precision are absolutely critical. The sources argue that explainability isn't just nice to have, it's an ethical and societal necessity for accountability. And beyond just explaining its own decisions, AI can sift through enormous amounts of complex data to find patterns humans would likely miss. Large language models, for example, can analyze thousands of public comments on a city plan to figure out the underlying community values or points of conflict. NLP chatbots, again, AI understanding language, can take dense technical reports about infrastructure and explain them in plain English to residents. This empowers people, turns them into those placemakers we mentioned.
That ability to make complex information accessible is really powerful for involving people. But it's interesting. As AI gets better, it seems to highlight what makes us different, what makes us human.
It really does, almost paradoxically. While AI brings all these benefits, the sources warn about a potential downside to its drive for efficiency and perfect solutions. There's a risk, maybe subtle but profound, that over-relying on AI could start to erode uniquely human skills. Things like deep critical thinking, genuine creativity that comes from struggle, even our problem-solving abilities. Some studies suggest that heavy reliance on AI-generated content might lead to less engagement in our own brains neurologically, linguistically.
So if AI always provides the smooth, optimized answer, maybe we stop flexing our own mental muscles quite as much.
That's the worry. AI is designed for optimization. It doesn't make happy accidents or have moments of errant genius that sometimes come from human mistakes or unexpected connections. Human creativity, true originality, still springs from our lived experiences, our emotions, our messy human character. AI is a powerful tool for creativity, no doubt, but the spark, the core idea, that's still human. And you see this reflected in the real world. Human-made art, even if technically imperfect, often holds far more value for us than a perfect AI-generated copy.
And AI struggles with the subjective side of things.
Absolutely. The sources point this out clearly. AI has a hard time with subjective human experience. It tends to see people in terms of data points, functions, scores, which risks a kind of subtle dehumanization if we're not careful. It lacks real cultural nuance, emotional intelligence. It might misunderstand sarcasm, irony, or language shaped by trauma, leading to significant misinterpretations. It can even end up limiting our own experience by constantly feeding us optimized, predictable options, maybe even overriding our own authentic ways of communicating.
So it's brilliant with logic and data, but the fuzzy, intuitive, emotional stuff that's so core to being human, that's a different story. Is that gap, that humanness, a flaw to be overcome or something valuable?
The sources argue passionately that it's a unique human strength. AI's inability to feel genuine empathy, to grasp subjective meaning, to create truly original ideas born from imperfection, that's not a bug, it's a feature of humanity. This suggests we need a design approach that actively protects and values human roles where things like empathy, ethical judgment, intuition, and creative problem-solving are key. It argues against trying to fully automate those inherently human domains.
That's a really important perspective. What about AI helping us understand the natural world?
Yes, that's another huge area where AI shines. It can process environmental data on a scale humans simply can't manage. Think about tracking wildlife populations, analyzing the health of entire ecosystems, spotting subtle signs of biodiversity loss. In climate science, as I mentioned, AI models crunch data from hundreds of satellites to make climate change predictions more accurate or monitor air quality in real time. Those digital twins can model whole cities to see the environmental impact of development or simulate how extreme weather might affect different areas.
So AI gives us a much clearer, bigger picture of our planet's health.
Exactly. And it helps manage resources better too, optimizing energy grids, improving waste management systems. This deeper understanding that AI enables is vital for creating effective environmental policies, for striving towards that balanced universe idea. But, and we have to keep coming back to this, the ethical imperative remains to manage AI's own environmental footprint, its energy thirst, its water use, so it doesn't cancel out the good it's doing. And connecting all this back to the bigger picture, weaving AI into the fabric of our infrastructure has massive societal consequences.
We've touched on the amazing positives: fast housing, lower costs, smarter cities. But let's look squarely at the other side. Where do the sources see the potential negative impacts?
Well, the sources are very clear. It's definitely a double-edged sword. A huge concern is workforce displacement. As AI takes over more tasks, especially in construction, planning, even design, there's a real risk of job losses across many sectors. This could lead to serious financial hardship for people, impact self-worth, cause social disruption. It really underscores the need for massive efforts in retraining and reskilling people for new kinds of jobs. That point comes up again and again.
So automation impacting jobs is a big one. What else?
There's the risk of deepening inequality. If AI prediction models are trained on biased data, or if they're designed without thinking about fairness, they could end up reinforcing existing disparities. You might see investment flowing only to certain areas, or planning decisions that unintentionally disadvantage low-income communities. Some call this digital redlining.
So the very efficiency of AI could actually make social divides worse if we're not careful.
Precisely. The sources also worry about the erosion of human connection and skills. If we become too reliant on AI for answers, for interaction, does critical thinking atrophy? Does creativity suffer? Do our face-to-face interactions become less meaningful? Then there are the privacy issues. AI systems often need vast amounts of data to work well, which inherently creates risks of surveillance, data misuse. AI can even be used to find ways around existing privacy protections. And another subtle risk is cultural homogenization. If AI optimizes everything for efficiency or popular taste, could it lead to a bland uniformity in art, architecture, cultural experiences? Filter bubbles already reinforce norms. AI could potentially amplify that, pushing unique or minority voices further to the margins.
It feels like for every benefit, there's a potential pitfall we need to navigate carefully.
What about ethics and accountability? Who's responsible when an AI makes a mistake in designing a bridge, for example? That is one of the toughest questions, and the sources really wrestle with it. Algorithmic bias is a huge ethical concern. If the data used to train an AI reflects historical discrimination, the AI will likely perpetuate it. Lack of diversity in the tech industry itself can contribute to this. And the black box problem makes accountability tricky. If we don't know why an AI made a decision, who do we hold responsible if it leads to harm? The sources are clear. AI itself doesn't have moral agency. It can't be truly responsible. That responsibility has to remain with the humans who design, deploy, and oversee it. And, circling back again, the environmental ethics are critical. Is it responsible to deploy AI systems with such high energy and water demands without addressing that footprint?
It sounds like governance is going to be absolutely key.
Immensely important. The sources point out that AI capability is becoming a major factor in global power dynamics, shifting influence, sometimes from public bodies to private corporations, and is a direct threat to democracy. AI's ability to generate convincing deepfakes, spread disinformation at scale, manipulate online conversations. These are serious challenges. Some governments are already using AI for censorship or tracking dissent, raising alarms about digital authoritarianism, a kind of ministry of AI truth.
So the very tool that could help build better cities could also undermine the democratic processes needed to govern them.
That's the fear, yes. Which is why robust governance is non-negotiable. We need clear standards for AI development and use. We need ways to audit and certify AI systems, maybe through market mechanisms. And we absolutely need clear lines of accountability and liability, ensuring there's always meaningful human control. It's a balancing act. We want the benefits of AI innovation, but we can't sacrifice fundamental rights or democratic oversight in the process. For instance, fast-tracking AI projects needs to be weighed against protecting local communities' rights and ensuring equity.
How does this play out for the next generation? The sources mention fostering a healthy, educated, and good child in an AI world.
Right, it's a complex picture for kids, too. AI can be a powerful learning tool, helping with reading comprehension, vocabulary, making knowledge more accessible. But, and this is key, it can't replace the deep engagement and relationship building that happens through human interaction with teachers, parents, peers. Over-reliance on AI for homework, for instance, might actually hinder deep learning and critical thinking development.
So AI as a supplement, not a substitute, for human teaching and parenting.
Exactly. The crucial things are teaching kids AI literacy, how to evaluate AI-generated information critically, integrating AI in a balanced way, designing educational AI tools that are safe, private, and free from bias, and above all, preserving that essential human connection, because AI can't replicate the emotional depth of human relationships.
What about culture and conflict? Can AI help or hurt there?
Well, technology has always shaped culture and conflict. Sources suggest AI could amplify some human tendencies, both good and bad. The drive for efficiency could, as we said, homogenize culture. Filter bubbles might reinforce groupthink and make cross-cultural understanding harder. On the flip side, AI offers tools for bridging divides. Think advanced translation to break down language barriers, AI analysis to understand the roots of a conflict, or even AI helping preserve endangered cultures, reconstructing languages, digitally restoring artifacts. But there's a big caveat. AI really struggles with conflicts based on deeply held, almost sacred human values. It lacks the empathy and nuanced moral reasoning needed for those situations. We have to resist AI solutionism, the naive belief that tech can fix inherently human problems like deep-seated conflict.
So again, a tool, but not a magic wand. What's the overall societal strategy then?
The consensus from the sources points towards a multi-pronged approach. Boost AI literacy across the population. Create strong governance to prevent misuse. Insist on human-centered AI design. Encourage collaboration between technologists, social scientists, ethicists, everyone. And maintain clear accountability for AI's impacts.
It really does sound incredibly complex. Which brings us back to something you said earlier, why this isn't just engineering or computer science, but a profound multidisciplinary synthesis.
Because it has to be. Building our future with AI and 3D printing touches everything. You need the physics and math for the materials and algorithms. You need the engineering for the robots and structures. Materials science for innovation. Computer science for the AI itself, including that crucial explainable AI.
But it goes way beyond the technical, doesn't it?
Oh, completely. You absolutely need urban planning and architecture to design livable, functional spaces. Sociology and anthropology to understand how these changes affect communities, jobs, culture. Economics to analyze costs, benefits, and equity. Environmental science is critical for assessing the footprint, both the savings and the costs of AI itself. And psychology and cognitive science help us understand how interacting with AI changes how humans think and relate to each other. Ethics and philosophy provide the moral compass. You can't tackle this from just one angle. No single discipline has all the answers to balance technical possibility with economic reality, social fairness, environmental responsibility, and core human values. Trying to do so would be dangerously simplistic. It wouldn't lead to that all-human benefiting outcome we're aiming for.
So it really demands this holistic, integrated view to build a future with AI responsibly.
Absolutely. And the sources are quite stark on this. This powerful multidisciplinary science needs protecting. In the wrong hands, if manipulated, it could easily be twisted, used for surveillance, control, deepening inequalities. AI's power to shape narratives through disinformation is a real threat to democratic control. So its true purpose, building a better world for everyone, really depends on strong ethical guidelines and democratic oversight to keep it on track.
So to wrap up, we've seen this incredible potential with AI and 3D printing transforming how we build, how fast, how affordably. But it's clearly not a simple utopia. It's complex, dualistic. There are major societal shifts, workforce changes, privacy questions, and this significant environmental paradox to grapple with.
That's right. And the crucial takeaway, I think, is that the outcome isn't fixed. How this technology shapes our future isn't inevitable. It comes down to the choices we make now. Deliberate human choices, guided by responsible governance. It's vital that AI serves to enhance human understanding, to help us make better decisions, rather than just automating things blindly. We need to recognize and value what AI can't do, understand subjective experience, feel empathy, exercise true creativity, make ethical judgments. That's human agency, and it's irreplaceable.
So a final thought for you, our listeners, maybe chew on. As AI gets woven deeper into the very infrastructure of our lives, how do we individually and collectively make sure it serves the full spectrum of human experience, the messy parts, the creative parts, the beautifully imperfect parts, and not just drive us towards some kind of sterile, optimized perfection?
This is DigitView.